Well, you got a tat?
You do, don't you?
Maybe.
Well, let's have a look. See if your guy's as good as you say he is.
Take my word for it.
Show you mine.
It wouldn't be a fair trade.
In New York City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
All right, guys, welcome to another Munch My Benson with Josh and Adam. My name's Adam. I'm here in Galveston. Joining me on the line is Josh. How you doing out there, Josh?
Peachy.
Nice. Well, I don't know what you've been up to. I just had a baby shower that we did virtually, which means that everything gets mailed to you, which is great. I've been opening presents for the last few days, but it means that there's just this enormous mountain of cardboard in my house that I finally got rid of today. It was like probably at least 100 pounds of just cardboard. It feels like I'm so wasteful, and the dumb kid isn't even here yet. But that's about all I've been up to. Haven't really had any time to watch TV. The in-laws were here helping out, and it was pretty wild. How about yourself? You up to anything?
Went for a drive yesterday.
Nice.
Out into Antelope Valley. We missed the poppy bloom, but it was a nice scenic drive.
That's cool.
Watched California Split, which was good. Altman movie from, 74?
Right on.
With George Siegel and Elliot Gould.
Nice. Well, should we just jump into this one and see where it takes us? We got a kind of an interesting episode, a little different. It's called Underbelly. It was Season 8, Episode 7. And I'll just jump into the recap. Some high school douchebags were upset they didn't get laid at a post-prom party on a really sick boat. One of them decides to pee off the bulkhead before they head to the next after party and spots a floater face down in the East River, right where his dream would have landed. The body belonged to a young girl with the same paw print tattoo that had been found on two other recent corpses, so Detectives Stabler and Beck... Wait, who the fuck is that? Oh, it's star of stage and screen Connie Nielsen in a strange turn as Stabler's temporary partner, whilst Mariska Hargitay was out on maternity leave. Now, where was I? Yes, Stabler and Beck start their investigation by checking out a tattoo parlor that looks conspicuously like a salon operated by one of Jonathan Anton's competitors from the 2004-6 reality show Blowout. The proprietor points them towards another tattoo parlor that is actually just a convenience store with a guy doing tattoos in the corner, where they strong-arm the ex-con into giving them some genuine leads. They find out the girl was named Chantal, and find her former foster mom, who shows them an extremely Uncanny Valley cheerleading video that really seems to connect with Detective Beck. Sadly, the girl has been taken out of this posh foster home and placed back into the custody of her outlandishly racist stereotype biological welfare mom, who nearly gets one kid killed during the brief conversation she has with the cops. The welfare mom preferred the company of her possibly pedo boyfriend to her daughter, so Chantal was shipped off to a group home where we find out that she'd been a hooker. Elliot's connections in Vice lead them to a massive open-air hooker market in East New York, where Beck and Stabler conduct a stop and frisk tramp stamp check on all the young working girls, eventually finding one named Belinda who bears the mark of the beast. Yeah, Belinda is a huge fan of Julia Roberts, and like her idol's character in Pretty Woman, she talks constantly, eventually telling them the name of her pimp, Victor, who the detectives neglect to investigate, and also that a rich guy had adopted the three dead girls so they could live a better life. Belinda is put in care of Sister Peg, a Catholic nun who cares for sex workers. Now, the detectives uncover the names of the rich guy, his name is Blake Peters, and track him to a hotel where they find him in bed with a young, but not criminally young, college student. SVU eventually decides to leave Blake Peters behind and investigate the pimp. And they go to the house of a Venice Jones, where Victor Bodine, that's the pimp's name, is known to frequent. In the course of their talk with Venice, they notice that she refuses to sit on the couch, So they open up the hide-a-bed, which reveals none other than Michael K. Williams, a.k.a. Omar Little, as Victor Bodine, wearing a pinstripe suit and a smile. Victor is charged with prostituting a minor and held on $500,000 bail. Meanwhile, Elliot, Beck, and Novak head out for a post-trial beer, which ends with Stabler and Beck violating all kinds of departmental HR policies in a stilted makeout session. The next day, Sister Peg is hospitalized after a severe beating by Victor. But Victor is still in jail, right? Well, no, he's not. That little punk Naaman Bryce, a.k.a. Julito McCullum from The Wire, assisted him in escaping via a highly improbable scheme which saw the two of them trade identities in lockup, with Victor getting out on the turnstile jumping charge and Naaman Bryce being held on the prostituting of a minor charge. Now this time Victor is not hiding out at Venice Jones' house, but instead at a fancy loft he owns in Williamsburg. His bags are packed and he's ready to leave for some fun in the sun with his, quote, topless hottie in the DR, but instead decides to slap her around beforehand. Now, Stabler and Beck arrive just in the nick of time, but Belinda's severe case of Stockholm Syndrome leads to a messy hostage situation and a chase through a warehouse, which ends with Victor dead at Beck's hands. Elliot tries to do a power sympathy drive home leading to weepy sex move, but instead gets turned down. And we are left with a blue balls Dick Wolf.
It's a pretty wild episode.
There's a lot going on here. I mean, first off...
Yeah, it's one of those 7 or 8 episodes of TV in one episode.
And I think the biggest problem that I have with it is it's just like so disconcerting to watch an episode of SVU that doesn't have Benson in it at all. Like not even as a... I mean, I guess she shows up for one scene, which is super weird.
But yeah, this is one of the 6 that she wasn't involved with during her maternity leave, so...
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to talk about Connie Nielsen. Connie Nielsen has a very long
I've got a lot of notes.
Storied career. She's been in some really big movies. This is
the weirder thing is that she's Danish.
She sure is.
And she is affecting a New York accent that does not work.
It does not work.
Yeah. Okay, so a little bit about Connie Nielsen's background. I sort of went down a little rabbit hole.
Nice.
She's only been living in the U.S. for about a decade at this point, at the point of this episode being filmed. Maybe that accent choice was too bold. She's doing this weird stilted,
I know,
curt New York accent that just she does not pull it off.
I know.
She was raised Mormon in Denmark.
Weird. I didn't know they had them.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a possibility. She grew up in a tiny village of what is currently fewer than 1,200 people. And there are fewer than 4,400 people in Denmark present day that are Mormon. So she shouldn't be able to be a Mormon. It shouldn't be possible. But somehow she was raised Mormon.
If you're wondering why you know her name, she's been in like great movies. She was in Gladiator. She was in Rushmore. She had a really great role in Permanent Midnight, the movie with Ben Stiller where he's the Alf creator. She's been in a lot of great stuff. And she's almost like too big of a star to be a bit player in an SVU episode, you know, just to be a 6-episode arc. And they do that thing they did with Danny Pino and Rollins where they kind of try to give her too much backstory, I think, too soon.
It's the same issue that they ran into with Sharon Stone, is that she's just too big of a name when they cast her, and you have to... If you get an actor of that caliber, you have to give them like something to do.
Yeah,
you have to write for them.
Yeah, and I mean they really could have just done some like Finn and Munch episodes. You know, maybe just have like a Stabler solo, Dickie Stabler deep dive episode, something like that. But no, they brought in a big star.
Like, she's very clearly not meant to be a cop in this unit, too.
I know.
I think they want to introduce a character who basically flames out of the unit because they're not cut out for it. And I guess that's theoretically interesting, especially since they have to, like, work around 6 episodes that Mariska Hargitay is not available for. So, I get this, but it doesn't make it fun to watch.
So, yeah, let's get away from that. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
The show opens with a shot of a extremely long stretch limo with a guy standing up through the moonroof playing trumpet. Why? This is not explained. Who plays trumpet through the moonroof of a limo? Anyways, behind that is a party boat. Now, Josh Dugan and I, at one point, were both party boat captains, and we had to be the crew of boats like that one with douchebag kids like we're on that boat getting off of the boat. And I saw them, those guys, kindred spirits. They had to watch these kids walk down the gangway and not fall off, even though all they wanted to do is push them between the boat and the pier so that they cut their legs off.
Well, or at least just not like pull the boat into the pier as like firmly as you could.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like leave a little space and just fucking, let them fall.
Yeah. These kids were upset that they didn't get laid at the party. And it's like, the party on the boat is probably only going to last about an hour or two. And where are you going to get laid on this like not private party boat? There's like a big group there. You're going to get laid in the little like marine head. That's not a very romantic spot to go. Let's see. Also, the kid walks not 10 yards away from the gangway he just walked on to take a leak. Like,
it's nonsense. And it's his pissing cock would be in full view of everyone deboarding.
Exactly. Every single person getting off the boat would have to look at his dick.
And it's cold, obviously. It's cold enough that there's very little decomp on the body in the water.
Yes.
So we know that he would not be showing well.
No. He stands on a light pole to take the leak, too. Who does this?
I mean, he's a clear sociopath.
Anyways, there's a lot of weird kind of throwaway lines in this one when they're talking about the tattoo, and I think the kind of couple scenes like right after the credits roll. One of them says,
It could be something vanilla. A lot of girls love Snoopy. Maybe they're animal rights activists or future Yaleys. Bulldog, bulldog, bow, wow, wow, go Yale.
Why Yaleys? Why not Georgetown?
Oh, man, what a weirdo. I mean, I know Yale's closer. It's also, I mean, are we discounting entirely that they could just be really big Patrick Ewing fans?
Seriously, exactly. Like, I mean, that would make more sense to me. Ewing's still a legend in New York City in 2006 when this episode was shown. I mean, let's see, where do we go from here? The tattoo parlors.
The tattoo salon or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
We really need to talk about that.
Yo, how strange was that scene?
Oh, yeah.
What two times?
So the setup for this scene is Danny implies that she's got some tawdry tats that our filthy minds will fill in the blanks for.
Yeah, she refuses
right
to show them where.
Yeah, I'm assuming she's got like a rhymed couplet of like George Byron on her labia.
I said taint tat ?
Yeah. But so then we head off to the Manhattan version of the tattoo parlor, which means it's a fucking hoity-toity boutique with some tool rhapsodizing about his art and the Mona Lisa, like sheer white curtains and strings of white Christmas lights.
This does not what tattoo parlors look like.
No.
Even
the convenience store one is much more like a tattoo parlor.
But
than
still,
this.
it had dryer sheets. There's a giant wall of dryer sheets that he's doing tattoos in front of.
Yeah.
But at least I bought it.
So then we the first shot in the tattoo parlor is the full back tiger tat with some generous side boob.
Yeah.
Like, this is much more freely risque than SVU typically goes, especially in the context of the skin not belonging to a victim.
That is true. Usually they're dead or underaged when we see that much skin. They're not.
Yeah, it's weird how disconcerting it was to see like healthy, non-aberrant partial nudity that we didn't feel disgusting about. Like, it's getting my loins stirring and I don't feel gross? What's going on here? This doesn't feel like an SVU episode. Okay, so we need to talk about the second tattooed parlor.
Yes.
This episode's like the most like reality melting episode of SVU that we've dealt with so far, because we've got Michael Dreyer is getting the tattoo. Michael Dreyer was the first high schooler on the street 2 episodes ago that we watched in Hooked.
That's right. I was wondering how I recognized that kid.
Yeah. So, this is like 18 months after that one filmed, is this one's getting filmed. So it's this bizarre, like, what the fuck? How is he back already? So this implies a whole bunch of other weird things, because his character's name is Sean, but this is obviously that same guy who was banging the Vic and Hooked 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he must have changed his name from Nicky Sims, and now he's Sean on the street.
Yeah.
Probably on account of having contracted HIV.
Absolutely.
At 16 and the stigma attached.
But that's why his love is no longer for chicks online. Now it's for his mom.
No, it's for Mo.
Mo.
Oh, God. Also, do we think that he disclosed to Lenny that he's HIV positive? Because there's a lot of blood that gets drawn in the making of a tattoo.
Yeah, that's a very ethical quandary, right? How do you do tattoos for HIV positive clients?
Was Lenny wearing gloves? I doubt it.
I doubt it. He did prison tests.
He's fly by night.
Yeah, I didn't notice gloves. Honestly, I didn't notice gloves at the fancy salon either. I almost want to go back and rewatch it right now, but not that badly.
Obviously, we're going to get into the whole other wrinkle of the show in the second half where The Wire is in this universe.
The whole cast of season 4 of The Wire shows up.
Yeah, it's nuts. So, like, The Wire operates in this universe because Munch has been on The Wire as Munch.
Yeah.
Like, so we've got Michael Dreyer popping back up, giving HIV to his tattoo artist, to Lenny, which I feel bad for Lenny.
Yeah.
And then it gets a lot weirder.
So I have a long-running thing about foster care.
It's super weird. Yes. Yeah. It's weird how positively the foster care system keeps coming across in this. I mean, she ends up in a group home, which is outside of that. I
would say ACS, which is their version of CPS, like the SVU version of Child Protective Services, always comes off as kind of bad guys. But foster parents and foster homes always are just like these angelic spaces where they're very nice, matronly women who are willing to care for these kids who are not their own and go above and beyond. I think in one of them, they were going to help pay for college and let them live there.
Should we be concerned that they're only showing like the matronly black women in these roles, and that is the only thing that black women are basically the mother figure or the magical knower of this thing, like Warner, within the context of the show?
I mean, we're getting into some deep kind of racial archetypes here.
There are only certain roles that exist for black women in the SVU universe.
Sure, and we see two extremes in the course of about 30 seconds right here, because we see the matronly foster mother who is angelic. She's a saint. She talks about how great Chantal was and what promise she had, and then immediately we go to her biological mother, who we'll get to in just a second, who is the exact polar opposite of that woman.
But before we leave,
we have to talk about
the foster
video.
moms. The video.
The video.
Holy shit!
So there was a cheerleading video. Chantal and her friends were cheerleaders, and they shot this video.
Girl on the right, St. Ambrose.
Go Chantel! Go Chantel! Go Chantel!
Chantel loved St. Ambrose. I enrolled her when ACS placed her with me.
You paid Catholic school tuition for a foster child?
Chantel deserved every advantage I could give her. She had so much potential.
It gets a lot of screen time. It is on screen for probably 2 minutes of this episode.
It comes
in the
back.
Background. Yeah, it comes back. It doesn't go away. And
it's
okay. So
it's something that Beck, Connie Nielsen identifies with. We see her watching it on her free time when she could be going out to get a beer with Stabler. She's watching that video.
So it's just shitty camcorder cheerleading video. It shows no actual cheerleading skills of any sort. I get this was done by the second unit, but take some pride and let this girl show her talents. We also need to be concerned with the fact that costumes couldn't afford a third shirt to make it look like this home video wasn't shot on the same day as the paw print tat photo.
It was
taken.
confusing. Yeah, it was confusing. It was the same shirt, wasn't it?
Yeah, like this girl doesn't get a credit.
I know.
This girl does not get a credit because she doesn't have a speaking line. let her wear a third fucking shirt.
Seriously. And let her say something. Like, you hear go Chantal, go in the background, but it's not her saying it. She looks like a robot. It was disturbing.
They brought in some of the production office, some of the females in the production office into an edit bay and had them do that for, like, they weren't getting paid. That background noise, the go Chantal, that was surely just production staff. They did not pay someone to do that.
but I could get making such a awkward, poor piece of filmmaking if it's going to be on screen just in the background for 10 seconds and I have to do like a hard pause to see that it's going on. But this is getting serious screen time.
Because it's on in the reflection of a door.
Uh-huh.
It's on the screen on the TV in the foster mother's home.
We watch it for about 30
then it's
seconds.
on that screen in the office for so long.
For so long. In both of those scenes, like one at the foster parents' mother's home, we see it for a while. And then when Connie Nielsen is like, you know, wistfully watching it and thinking about all the poor girls out there that are being victimized. You know, we like are forced to think about this ridiculous wooden video for far too much.
And the weird thing is that they do more in this episode to humanize Chantal than they do in almost every other episode where a victim turns up. They almost never humanize the victim.
I know.
They try to here, and then this is what they give us.
I know, especially I know, it's so bizarre. So the other extreme for what Black women are allowed to be in the SVU universe comes out immediately after the foster mother scene, because we come to the welfare mom, who is the biological mother. I was shocked at how racist this scene was. And not from a, like, you got a hick saying racist things to somebody, but how racist the character was written by Law & Order SVU. And how this cleared edits, this cleared a writer's room, this cleared the show creator. I was shocked.
Yeah, this mother is so derelict in her duties as a mother that her fucking, 4 or 5-year-old son is on a Razor scooter.
It's a welfare Razor scooter.
Elliot has to fucking save him from getting creamed by a truck.
It was a Taurus. It wasn't a truck.
It was a Taurus? Okay.
Yeah.
But Elliot has to, like, pull this kid from going over the curb right in front of a car. Like, okay, so she's clearly the worst mother ever.
It's amazing.
She chose her molester boyfriend over her daughter. It's pretty safe to assume that her molester boyfriend and her 2 children are dead at this point, right?
Where's your boyfriend now?
At work. He wasn't arrested?
Hell no. ACS say he couldn't live with us, so I told them to take her.
You picked your boyfriend over your daughter?
I wasn't gonna put Ricky out over her lies.
So what happened to Chantal?
ACS sent her to a group home. Look here, if that place let my baby get killed, you think I got me a lawsuit?
Is that all you care about? Making money off your dead daughter's body?
Bitch, get out of my face!
Calm down.
What do you think her actual cause of death ends up? So I had a few ideas as to how the whole family would die. I assume that it'll either be a cigarette catching the couch on fire, botulism from a dented can.
Nice.
Or they manage to be 4 of the handful of Americans who get the bubonic plague every year.
But I like those theories. Those all work for me. Man, that scene was problematic, to say the least. So we go to the group home, and there's a very kind of like another kind of classic SVU trope with ACS.
My note here at the group home is just so many under 5s in this episode. Like, they burn through featured background with like 2 lines.
Yeah.
Like, they burn through them so fast in this episode.
There are so many speaking roles in this. It's amazing.
But they're all under 5s.
Yeah.
Like, they're definitely keeping it in line with the budget. but they're just burning through under 5.
But I was thinking about the guy who runs the group home being kind of
that guy.
a reedy kind of not implied pedo running this group home for girls. But yeah, we see like they talk to like 6 different girls there. And so this is when we realize that it might be more about teenage prostitution. Then we go to the open air hooking market. Let's talk about that. So I live in a town where I've seen prostitution on the street on occasion. It's never 50 14-year-old girls lined up on like a 1 block, you know? There's like one lady and you're like, what is she doing? Oh, that's what she's doing. Or there's like a seedy hotel where the door opens and closes from time to time. This is like Hamsterdam, but for hoes, basically.
Yep. But, I mean, we didn't live in New York in 2006, so maybe this is just what it was like.
What was done. It's true. And I got to tell you.
This is pre-Craigslist, right?
This was 2006, and Craigslist was shut down in 2011. I know that because of my research. So this was probably just before the dawn of the high period of online prostitution. Excuse me. Now we get the Connie Nielsen backstory right before they go to bust up this open air prostitution market. The every one of these cases will break your heart thing from Elliot, where he kind of offhandedly suggests that his 13-year-old daughter is, the same age as all these hookers, and it doesn't seem to visibly upset him, even though it visibly upsets him in most of the episodes where he talks about his kids. This one, he just kind of like tosses it off and, whatever.
Well, he has to be the stabler here.
It's true. That is true.
Her backstory is that her husband was a cop.
Mm-hmm.
He died in the line of duty. And she was a warrants cop, and then she asked to move over to SVU. This is her 5th of 6 episodes. So in the first episode of the season, Benson ends up getting pulled into this weird undercover gig.
Yeah.
Where she has infiltrated the Earth Defenders group in Oregon. And like Marcia Gay Harden has pulled her into this. And so she's in deep cover having infiltrated this group.
Eco-terrorists? Hell yeah.
Yeah, she's under deep cover. And then her case is solved in the episode that aired before this one, which is why Benson has the one scene.
Yeah.
But really what's happened is that they filmed the episode 6 after the Connie Nielsen episode that comes next.
Nice.
And then repositioned it.
Nice. I just have my next note written in all caps. It is Tramp, Stamp, Stop, and Frisk. Because I was hooting at this scene. So they're at the open air prostitution market.
Oh, God. They're staked out in a fucking conversion van. Yeah, and she can't fucking take it anymore. And she just has to go fucking roust everybody.
Oh, I say Nielsen is a shitty cop just like Liv.
Well, much, much, much worse.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, she doesn't even understand how police works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this woman would pass the psych eval. Like, because, it just doesn't, I mean, with the backstory, it just doesn't seem like, oh, this is the person I want to be a police officer in New York City. Of course, I guess lots of people pass that. Still, she goes and it kind of blows their little stake out because she walks up to these girls. And so they have to kind of line them all up against the wall. And while the chicks are lined up against the wall, Connie Nielsen, Detective Beck, goes from each one and just looks, like does a butt crack check of every single hooker down the line. I was screaming when that was happening.
Oh, man. Just such bad police work. And then she finds the paw print on Belinda Holt, who's played by Charlie Ray, who is actually 14 here.
Really?
This actress is actually 14, which
she looks at
for me is super problematic.
Yeah. I said these chicks are so young. What monsters write this shit? It's like,
oh God, it's really rough. So fucking Belinda's favorite movie is Pretty Woman. They get her back to the precinct, and the jacket that she's wearing on the street is somehow nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
And so she's wearing a white jacket. Like, she's wearing a white leather jacket on the street. In
the precinct, she's showing a lot of skin.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. She's wearing basically just a halter top.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, she's a child, and we're talking about her pimp and her being a prostitute. Eventually, we talk about her being topless on the beach in the DR. Oh
yeah, and
so
like
fucked up.
Stabler makes a reference to that, which is weird. I don't want to think about that.
No.
So when they are, I guess they're interrogating her, but they're not. I mean, she's not really been convicted of a crime or anything.
No.
But they're talking to her to try to figure out where Victor is, and Connie Nielsen takes off her hooded sweatshirt and gives it to this girl. It's like, we didn't think through the continuity of this at all?
Yeah, she had a jacket.
She had one. She was wearing a jacket when you picked her up on the street. Where's her jacket? We never see that jacket again. Like, it can't be evidence, right?
It looked expensive, honestly.
Maybe it must be seized property or something.
I guess. So, Belinda lets them know that those 3 girls, who she calls her sisters, were adopted by a rich guy.
She knows that his name is Blake, and she's able to say what car he drives. Some fancy European car he drives. There are like 8 Blake's first or last names that drive this vehicle, and then there are 3 who have a Fifth Avenue address.
Mm-hmm.
And so they narrow it down to the one who has like a little bit of a record and was arrested but not charged with like a domestic disturbance or something. So it ends up being Ulysses S. Grant from Hell on Wheels.
But so they find this guy Blake Peters. He's like a lawyer, and they find a news article about him.
I love this.
Finn is reading the news article, which is not what the actual article on screen says.
Oh yeah, Mr. Blake Peters enjoys tennis, polo, and water sports.
Preferably with underage girls.
So when Elliot says that, well, really, when both of them say that, I was just sitting there stunned and thinking, this got by standards and practices?
Mm-hmm. You're allowed to say water sports on SVU?
This got past S&P at NBC, man. Like, the implication, if you're, for those who are not filling in the gaps that Adam and I are filling in, the implication here is that Blake Peters pisses on underage girls.
Or that he gets underage girls to piss on him. There's 2 options.
Either way. Water sports are games involving piss.
The article that he's reading, though, is nothing to do with that. It's actually, I don't know how they found this. It's an article clearly from a Canadian newspaper about U.S. military having to do a cleanup on a site that had been used by the U.S. military during World War II in Nunavut, 100 kilometers southeast of Sullivan Island. Now, Blake Peters, we track him down. He is in a hotel. It's weird because there's so much going on in this episode, but some of the best parts and some of the best actors are given relatively little time on screen, I think.
I mean, okay, so now we need to talk about the fact that Candy is Constance Wu.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting to. So it's kind of this like strange like side quest. We go find Blake Peters at this hotel. He has a underage college girl, Candy, in his room.
Well, she's 19.
Yeah, she's not criminally underage.
They think she's underage, but she is of legal age. She's 19 per her ID, and her real name is Candy.
Yeah.
So her parents predestined her for a life of prostitution.
And she says she wasn't hooking, but I don't know, man.
No.
I think there was an implication
not
with that whole arrangement. Yeah, maybe she didn't realize she was hooking, but Blake Peters was definitely going to pay her when he left.
But yeah, this is Constance Wu. This is her 3rd credit. I don't know if this was actually the first thing she booked, but this is her 3rd credit on IMDb. Constance Wu, of course, she's the tiger mom in Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
She's in Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
The lead in Crazy Rich Asians.
She sure is.
She's in Hustlers, sharing top billing with Jennifer Lopez. Like, this is Constance Wu, and it's super fucking weird because she is in a complete throwaway part.
Yeah, I know. Like, this part did not need to be... It could have easily been cut out. And probably the only reason they couldn't cut it out is because they didn't have enough Michael K. Williams, like, time available. You know, they only shot, two scenes
But they only
with
had
him.
1 day of Constance Wu here.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Exactly. Okay, so they're looking at his knuckles, which are really fucked up. His knuckles are, like, abused. And they think,
well, from the Civil War,
understandably, that he beat the shit out of 3 underage prostitutes. But no, he says it's because he has to work on his 72 Ferrari Daytona Spider. Now, I'm not a huge car working guy, but every time I've done it, you might get a scrape. But I don't have knuckles that look like I just went 12 rounds with a teenage prostitute. He did look really fucked up from that.
It's one of those things. It's one of those, like, whenever I'd work on like the Grand Wagoneer or the Caddy, my hands would get fucked up.
Okay,
I'd almost always cut my hands. They'd always be dirt. Like the black from the black from everything on the engine would like be impossible to get out.
Okay,
so I could see where maybe that stands to.
I get where you're coming from, Josh. Now your Caddy was a beautiful car. I know you had to hold up the glove box with duct tape, but your Caddy was not a 1972 Ferrari Daytona Spider. Do you know how much this car cost? It cost $3.3 million nowadays.
But no one else can touch his car. He won't let anyone else touch his car.
Yeah, but if you have that car, you don't fuck up your knuckles working on it. You have precision parts. It is pristine. It probably lives in a bubble. It's in like a negative pressure bubble so that no dust gets on it.
Is this the car that Cameron's dad has in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
No, not exactly. It's similar, but not exactly. It's a beautiful looking car. There's one at auction on Sotheby's right now. Don't think you can afford it, sadly. Or no, I take that back.
I don't need a Ferrari.
It was available in 2015. They are fairly uncommon cars. Gorgeous though. Much better than the current models. So then we just drop this guy. He's gone forever. Benson does a little walkthrough on the show, which seem forced and strange. Okay, so Benson walks into the precinct office, kind of looks around wistfully, walks up to Connie Nielsen and talks to her like she doesn't know who her replacement is. And also, like, Connie Nielsen doesn't know what Olivia Benson looked like when she was a legend.
But name drops her in the episode.
Does name drop her, yeah. Like, it would be one thing if she didn't know who she existed at all, but she brings her up a few minutes later.
Doesn't she say, "You're precious, Benson"?
If you think I can't do an interview, say so. But don't spy on me. I'm not your precious Olivia. I know that, but I'm a good cop.
And I know that.
So why don't you trust me the same way I trust you?
I do. I wanted to introduce you to Sister Peg. She runs an outreach program for hookers.
Sex workers, Elliot.
I don't know, man. A very strange, awkward scene. Like, I would kind of get it if they just left her off completely.
Well, then it's an awkward scene also because right after that, Benson's in Cragen's office and she sees Elliot come up and, like, sort of semi-affectionately, like, put his hand on her shoulder or something. And Benson's eyes bug out. She is so jealous.
Oh, yeah, big time. He was doing the, like, massage therapist guy greeting, you know, coming up, giving her a little neck squeeze. Yeah, one of my favorites.
We both know who you're talking about there. All right, anyway. So we have this dumb moment where it's like Danny and Elliot feeling each other out, sort of.
Yeah.
And like she really pushes back on Elliot saying that Peters basically doesn't have it in him.
Yeah.
The way he threw up after he saw the bodies.
Yeah.
Like this guy doesn't have that in him. And she pushes back way too much here. Does not seem right. And then she gets super defensive like 5 seconds later when she sees him looking in the window into the bunk bedroom that all the cops sleep in sometimes, whatever the fuck that's called. She gets super defensive when we get that beautiful tilt up from fucking Belinda, tilt up to Elliot's, like, disembodied head in the window of the door. I laughed so hard when I saw him there. And then she's super pissed. She's like, "You don't trust me to, like, interrogate a suspect or whatever?"
I think it's normal that you kind of, like, are both, paying attention to the interrogation that's going on.
Right. Yeah, it's your partners.
Yeah.
It's both of your case.
Hasn't Stabler been doing this for more than 8 years? Because he was the senior detective in episode 1.
He and Benson's were partners for 13 years.
Yeah.
So Benson got to the unit about a year before the beginning of season 1.
Yeah.
But Stabler is the senior detective here.
Exactly.
He's been on the unit obviously longer.
He's a career sex crimes investigator. This is what he does.
It's career sex crimes enthusiast.
Yeah. I would listen to this guy, right? Like, if I started a new job,
Yes.
like investigating rapes and murders and prostitution, like, I would listen to the guy who's been doing it for at least 15 years.
Right.
Seems like an expert.
Like, the resistance just doesn't make any sense.
No.
So, right after this, we go to Victor's pad with Venice.
Venice Jones' house. I love Venice Jones. She is Joanna Reinhardt. She doesn't have any like huge credits. She's been in a few things, but I thought she gave a inspired performance as Venice Jones. There is so much going on in this house. There's a zebra print rug. There are like scepters and potion bottles all over the house. There are Ganesh and Krishna painting on the walls. There's like a giant Himalayan salt rock on a stand, and there's a tea kettle on display. It's basically like a poorly stocked head shop is what Venice Jones' house looks like. I was kind of surprised I didn't see like one of those pewter dragons on one stand somewhere. There's all kinds of weird shit in there. And in the middle of this room, kind of everything is framing this sofa. It is, all eye lines are drawn to it, and it is easily the shittiest looking thing in the entire house. It looks like it just got dragged out of an alleyway. It's like dingy. It's got a kind of gross, throw rug thrown over it. It's really gross. And everybody's looking at the couch the whole time they're in there. You want to talk about the couch? Because this is a great entrance.
I want to talk about the couch check mostly. So they start sort of like doing like an ocular pat down of the place, Venice's house. And Danny goes up to the fucking couch and does the worst cushion check that I've ever seen anyone do while trying to see if there's a weapon. She doesn't, like, her fucking cushion brush down is...
You're upset.
Awful.
Awful. I haven't had a hide-a-bed in quite some time, and I don't remember exactly what, the consistency of the hide-a-bed is without a mattress inside. Because the mattress kind of holds up the cushions, right? When it's all folded in. Yeah. And so I don't know what putting a, 5'11", 175-pound man in there would do to the consistency of the cushions on top. You know what I mean?
Well, the cushions are pretty thick on the couch, which is my biggest question about what the fuck Danny was thinking when she did the first check, is the cushions are very thick cushions. They're probably like 5-6 inches thick.
Yeah, you feel down into those cracks.
Yeah, you really feel down into the cracks, and you lift the fucking cushions up to check underneath to see if there's anything in there. I mean, it seems very obvious that, like, okay, they've got Michael K. Williams. He's not going to be in this fucking couch. Like, this is the workaround that they came up with. You can't check the couch too well because it's going to be super fucking obvious that Michael K. Williams isn't under there.
Oh, but, I mean, it was set up for this because the couch is kind of like hovering in the middle of this room. It's so awkward that this couch is right there. It's got to be the couch. And anyways... Finally, Venice refuses to sit down on the couch when they want to interview her. And so they open up the couch and out pops legend of the screen, Michael K. Williams, Omar Little, star of Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, he's still on The Wire at this point.
Yeah, no,
like, this was still Omar.
This was right after this was while season 4 was airing. So shortly after shooting stopped for season 4. I think season 4 started airing in September 2006. This episode was aired in November 2006. So this was kind of right after.
Coincidentally, in the action between season 4 and 5, Omar has gone to Puerto Rico.
Exactly. I thought about this too. And they talk about him going to the Dominican Republic in this one.
There's a lot of other weird... So, yeah, that's all subterfuge. He's really going to Puerto Rico. We also need to talk about the fact that Omar, in between the goings-on of season 1 and 2, has left for New York because he needs to go on the run. Because who did he shoot at the end of season 1? Well, he killed Stinkum, but he fucking shot Weebay, who was Naaman Bryce's father.
That's fucking right. Whoa.
So Naaman Bryce knows that this guy's a legend on the street, presumably because he fucking shot his dad, who is now in prison. And then he like assumes his identity to spring him. This doesn't make any sense because this is, again, as we've established, in the Wire universe. So we know that this is Omar. I don't know why Omar's pimping in New York.
Reality
Pimping
is melting.
below Omar. He's a stick-up man.
And
he's a stick-up artist.
Seriously, he's a stick-up guy, and this is kind of changing my views of Omar Little because he clearly can wear a tie, and he has no problem tying it up perfectly in this episode. He is well coiffed.
It is consistent that he does not get shaken by the police when they question him.
No, I know. He's so good. He's like at the height of his powers in this. He's way too good for this episode. Like every scene he's in, he's like acting 3 times as well as everybody around him.
Yeah, he's so wasted in this like ultimately not very interesting part.
Yeah.
He doesn't even show up until the last half. And again, this is season 4 of the fucking Wire is airing at this point. Omar is fucking Omar.
I mean, he's so good. He's like, you see my rap sheet. I ain't no virgin. I know how the game is played. And it's like, yeah, we know you know how the game is played, Omar.
I ain't no virgin. If I know how the game is played, you come in here, start hollering, probably beat me down. Then my attorney comes in and I walk.
I don't think so. Chantal, Monique, Amber.
You killed them. Man, why would I kill them pretty young things? You feel me? I love my girls.
Got a funny way of showing it, making them screw strangers so you can buy your Huggy Bear threads there.
Oh, come on now. I ain't never made a woman do nothing she don't want to do. But now the things they do for love.
Yeah, like I want to see him eat some honey nut. You know, like I want to see him go to the store, whistling Farmer in the Dell, picking up honey nut. That's what I want to see in this episode. I don't get it.
We also find out that he's a former Golden Glove and he has some scars on his knuckles. And I was like, my note was, I thought it was Omar. I didn't think it was Avon.
Yeah, they're really mixing the mythology of Omar and Avon here.
Oh, funny thing. So when they go to that bar right before the really awkward Connie Nielsen Stabler makeout scene, did you notice that so Diane Neal, Casey Novak, gets called away by Marcus, who's her real life husband? It's kind of throwaway factoid.
Yeah. They divorced in 2014, but yeah, he's that's her husband IRL.
Man, Stabler says some really awkward things about the child Belinda, who is a child in this episode.
Literally, this girl is 14.
Yeah, and he says she's not a child anymore. Once they're pulled down by the street, they're capable of anything. Disgusting shit.
Well, that's to explain away the possibility that maybe she did jump Sister Peg.
Yeah, I guess. But Sister Peg outweighs this small child. Sister Peg obviously has, seen some shit. Because every time Sister Peg shows up in SVU, something terrible happens to her. She will eventually get murdered on an episode of SVU.
Yeah, this is her 7th of 8 episodes.
Yeah, she's another time abducted by a self-proclaimed psychic. Like, she's basically abused in more than half of the episodes she's in SVU. And she's in, 8 episodes total.
Neither of us want to talk about the makeout scene by the Jeep, so let's just move past it.
No, it's horrifying. I am going into this without remembering all of the details of these characters' backstories. Like, I tend to block out the backstory episodes, so I don't know where Elliot is in his married life.
He's separated.
Okay.
And he's about to, I believe his wife gets pregnant at the end of season 8 when they have reconciled, but at this point they are separate.
So Galveston has recently been a place where a lot of people, mostly from the Houston area, but from the general region, have been coming since the beach opened back up. So people that want to go party on the beach, they come down here. In particular, there's this one area that's not in the city. It's in a kind of outlying area. It's called Bolivar, and you have to take a ferry to get there. Very beginning of this, where the kind of pro-Trump beach rallies were occurring. And there's a kind of guy that was going to those, and I'd see them because there would be a traffic jam to get onto the ferry. And it'd be single middle-aged man in a Jeep with nobody else in the Jeep. Most of the other cars are packed with people, but nobody else in the Jeep. All the windows down, blaring, music from 40 years ago. But, like, I'm the cool guy going to the beach alone.
Speedwagon, presumably.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. REO Speedwagon, whatever. Elliot totally strikes me as one of those dudes. Like, His kids, Kathleen and Dickie.
I'm sorry that I just made you have to drop in REO Speedwagon into this episode.
Oh, dude, yeah. I've seen REO Speedwagon perform live. One of my prouder moments.
I've seen Eddie Money.
Hey, that's fucking badass, dude.
That can't happen again.
But yeah, Stabler is totally going to a Trump rally on the beach alone to try to pick up women because his kids don't talk to him anymore. That's Stabler in 2020. Anyways, back to the show. This is when we get the even more mind-melting appearance from a Wire cast member when Victor Bodine escapes from prison completely improbably. They don't really get deep into this scheme that they have because
well, he's still in jail at this point. He's not even at Rikers.
Yeah, he's in lockup awaiting transfer to Rikers. Right. And somehow Victor was able to exchange identities with none other than Naaman Bryce. That's Julito McCullum from most famously, from my perspective, from season 4 of The Wire, but he's been in a bunch of other stuff as well.
He got a good foster parent too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, it worked out pretty well for him, considering
that shitbird.
I know. Considering
how did he luck out?
I know he's the one kid that doesn't have a tragic story, and he's kind of
he's the one that also doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's how fate works, man. All right. Eventually, they find out that Victor has escaped from prison, right? And so they go track him down back at Venice Jones' house. Now, Venice Jones is wearing the same outfit that she was wearing the day before. They couldn't give her a different colored velour tracksuit.
Could have just given her a different top.
Seriously.
A different top would have covered.
Exact same outfit. Like they clearly just filmed this scene 30 seconds after they stopped filming the previous scene.
Because Victor Bodine has gone in front of the judge.
Yes. It's been a week.
Well, that was just arraignment.
Okay,
that was probably the next day.
It's at least been 24 hours, though.
Yes.
But Elliot says to her,
"What are you talking about? Victor's on the run, but he went to a lot of trouble to take Belinda with him. That skanky little hoe."
I guess he thought she'd look better than you, topless.
Weird pause.
On the beach in the DR. A man wants quality eye candy on his arm when he's sipping on a rum and coke.
It's my trip. He promised me.
Now, Elliot clearly was reading his lines off of there was a PA in the corner holding up the lines, right? Because you can tell
I bet his sides.
There's a line break for that.
Yeah. That's clearly where the page broke.
Yeah.
Well, but that would have the page break wouldn't happen unless there's. I mean, assuming Scripty's doing everything Scripty's supposed to be doing, the page break wouldn't happen mid-sentence.
I know, but that was a weird pause that was not explained.
Maybe it's just a choice.
I guess. Also, they're still talking about a girl who is in real life 14 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
Talking about her being...
And the character, both the character and the actress playing the character are 14.
She tells him that he has a loft in Williamsburg. They go there. Who leaves their luggage, with the door open? The luggage blocking the door to keep it open so that you could then slap around your underage girlfriend before you're leaving town. Very strange to me, especially in New York City.
Yeah, but this is a really nice loft.
Yeah.
Should we... I think we need to talk about what the fuck's going on where this isn't just where he always is.
That's what I'm saying. Why does he go to Venice Jones' house to begin with? What's the point of this?
Yeah, it's nuts. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a huge loft. It looks like Avon Barksdale's loft from The Wire. After he and Stringer start investing in real estate.
Him having this loft and the loft being this nice and this not being where he is at all times is just nonsense.
And I think that's kind of a metaphor for this entire episode. Because...
Yeah, is that this is all just nonsense. It doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of great parts in this episode, you know, particularly Michael K. Williams, but a few other good parts, you know. Sister Peg is always good and always has like kind of has an interesting through story through the whole thing. I noted that she's like the wokest person in the show because she says sex workers, Elliot. Kind of
because he calls them hookers, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
He either calls them hookers or prostitutes, and she's like...
It was more hateful than prostitutes. He called, I think it was hookers or whores. He might have even called them whores.
I don't think he said whores.
Again, they're talking about 14-year-olds, though, so yeah. But she says sex workers, Elliot. Anyways, she's always good. You know, a lot of the bit parts were fine. Like, honestly, all the girls in the group home, they were all kind of awesome. They all gave really great lines. And it really does not add up to the sum of its parts. I think it's because it really heavily leans on the Beck character, which is... It just didn't need to happen.
They're wedging too much Danny Beck backstory into this. That's really what the issue is.
Because I guess they're trying to set us up for, you know, caring about her when she's off the show for good after the next episode.
My concern with this episode mostly is that they've completely put Chantal in the corner.
Yeah. Nobody puts Chantal in the corner.
Except for the SVU writers.
Yeah.
They have.
No,
she doesn't get a line, and she's on screen so much.
I know, it's really fucked up.
They did her up to have her be dead. Then they took morgue photos.
So they did two. They did two setups for her, right?
She had two outfits.
Yeah,
because she's not wearing shockingly two outfits because she should have had three. Yeah. They did this whole second unit shoot with the camcorder, but like she doesn't get a line.
And I really think the kind of tramp stamp, you know, like tiger mark thing could have featured more prominently in the second half of the episode. Like, you know, why does he need to brand his girls? Like, you know, it's not like a normal thing for a pimp to do, right? I've never seen that before. What didn't happen in Pretty Woman.
Well, Pretty Women is the sequel that Louisa May Alcott wrote.
Yeah, exactly.
So my thinking in why Omar would be going by James Victor Bodine here is presumably because he's probably a pretty big Thomas Pynchon fan.
That's what I was going to say. Is Bodine a Pynchon reference? Is this all like a...
Pig Bodine?
Yeah. Is this actually a thing where they are acknowledging how warped reality is in this episode? And
I assume so, and the writing staff's probably huge Pynchon fans.
Yeah. So in reality, then, we're not watching a show that's about Danny Beck coming to grips with the fact that she's not cut out for this. We're watching a show where Danny Beck is us seeing how reality is fully warped in on itself, and she is the kind of, you know, Neo character from the Matrix being red-pilled and seeing how warped reality really is, where multiple long-running TV shows can intermingle with each other and come out with such a kind of average, poor result. I want to get back to Michael K. Williams, because in the final scene, the kind of chase through that strange warehouse, he's still acting the shit out of that role. Like, he throws that girl over through a glass window and over a railing with like so much force. I'm like,
there's not a glass window. It's just...
he breaks a glass window. That's what it is. Yes. He breaks the glass window to get in there. But like, he's selling it to me, like, through that girl.
And then he goes out with such a whimper. It's sort of a shot reminiscent of the end of John Wick.
Yeah.
Only John Wick lives. Well, Omar lives too until next season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the sort... It's a you know, prescient in a way, because Omar kind of goes out with a whimper as well in season 5 of The Wire.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a letdown considering how much we care about him at this point. Now, I just can't wait till Brother Muzan makes an appearance on SVU, and I'm hoping that comes soon.
It does happen. I know that.
It does? Excellent.
I'm pretty sure Brother Muzan's on it. I do have one last note.
Sure.
That's sort of about location. Where they find Chantal in the beginning.
Yeah.
Didn't it seem like, since this is in the Wire universe, that they should have like a Harper Police McNulty here?
Seriously, man.
Who's sending them the tide and current maps to tell them where the body came from?
They discussed the currents, you know, and there was a bridge in the background. It was the Brooklyn Bridge. It wasn't the bridge in Baltimore is. I think we can get to rating this thing. So every week we rate these episodes. We do it on a variety of criteria. We have 4 different criteria that we use. It's similar to an Olympic figure skating rating where we have different criteria and then we find a composite score based on that. So we do a 1 through 10 scale, 1 being bad, 10 being great. On quality, the guests involved, how problematic it was, and how ruined the people's lives involved were. And on those last 2, problematic and lives ruined are good things, kind of ironically. And that does lend itself to some subjectiveness because there is good problematic and there is bad problematic. And I guess let's start there because this episode is definitely problematic. It is
super problematic.
Highly problematic.
Yeah.
Between the
topless reference at the beach at DR.
Well, just how sexualized these 14-year-olds are in this episode, from that like outdoor hooking Amsterdam market that's going on
to the mother enabling the molester boyfriend.
Yeah. Oh no, and like how racist the portrayal of the welfare mom. That's highly problematic.
Yep.
So it's gotta score high on that. I don't know where we put it because it's not good problematic.
It's not hooked. It's not hooked. Well, I think it's so outlandish.
It's got to be high.
The racism part isn't fun, but
it's so cartoonish. I mean, it's just like you're watching and you're going like, how on earth was this okay? You know, this is 2006. It's not like 1954 or anything like that. Like, it is cartoonish racism.
Well, and Elliot has to be reminded by Sister Peg not to call prostitutes, that they're sex workers.
I know. When he's been a sex crimes detective for 15 years.
Right. And we have it's hilarious that we've got the wokest nun ever being the voice of reason with that.
Yeah. It can't get a 10.
No, it can't. No, fuck no.
Because
it's not fun enough on the problematic.
Exactly.
10, it's not like Hooked.
10 has to be extremely fun, and this was not really fun at all. It was at best like really gross and really awkward.
Yeah, I mean it's still got to be pretty high though.
It's got to be like 7,
like a
8?
6 or 7. Yeah, 6 or 7.
I'm saying 7. So let's go 7 for that one because it was high, but it wasn't fun. Let's talk about the lives ruined in this episode because I think there's actually quite a few.
Yeah, Chantal
is dead, and so are the other 2 girls.
Belinda's fucked.
Belinda is fucked. I mean, in like Belinda's story we didn't even talk about this.
Oh, about her stepdad.
About her stepdad crawling into bed with her and her other little babies running around the house. Like, that whole family is fucked. All of those girls in that hooker lineup, their lives, they were all like 13, 14 years old. Every single one of them was a child. Fucking Naaman Bryce, he's not going to get saved by a nice foster parent. He's going to jail for a long time. His best
hope is that he shares a cell with Weebay.
Seriously, if he's not in the same prison that Weebay's in, horrible things are going to happen to him. So I would say a lot of people's lives are ruined. I don't know, maybe
Venice's cash flow is gone.
Venice's cash flow is gone. Michael K. Williams is obviously dead. Connie Nielsen is scarred and probably not going to be a good detective.
Stabler's got blue balls.
Stabler's got big. I described this in the Dick Wolf, but Stabler had some very blue balls at the end. He's wearing. Okay, I'm going to take a little aside here because the final shot of this episode just was cracking me up. I watched this twice. Stabler is wearing the baggiest jeans at the end of this episode. They almost look like fucking Jenkos here. He's standing there after having just been turned down by Connie Nielsen, who is out of his league, let's be honest. No offense, Maloney. Connie Nielsen, she was in Nymphomaniac.
Hard disagree.
She is a fucking babe. She dates rock stars. She's a babe.
Yeah, but I mean, he was with the vice president.
Okay.
Selena Myers.
Okay. She was with Lars Ulrich, brah, in real life.
Yeah, Stabler, he's pretty awesome.
I mean, Stabler's pretty cool. He has some.
Have you seen his ass?
He had some baggy fucking jeans. These jeans.
Well, he needs those baggy jeans because of how cut he is.
Dude.
His ass probably cut through 3 other pairs of jeans.
I'm saying you could see his running shoes that he's wearing at the bottom of those jeans, and the jeans are like 4 times as wide as the running shoes. It was a comical Jinko situation. No wonder she didn't want to sleep with you, brah. Anyways, so yeah, he has blue balls. Who else we got ruined? That foster mom is probably never going to have a foster child again. Sister Peg was in the hospital. That can't be good.
The racist welfare mom, she has kids.
Oh, Blake Peters, the guy with the Ferrari, like, he's going to have problems with his wife after that arrest. And it's going to be hard.
He's going to have a weird conditioned response. Every time he sees an underage prostitute now, he's going to throw up, probably.
It's going to be hard to hold on to the $3.3 million Ferrari. Oh, I know another thing we didn't mention in the problematic thing. We didn't mention Finn pulling the black card when they were at the law office interviewing the associate.
Yeah, getting shot down by the intern or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Also kind of awkward. He asked the intern for some help and used, he said, help a brother out. And the guy said, if I don't get this done accurately, immediately, I'm the one out of a job, brother. Like that. Not cool, honestly, because the guy was just doing his job and actually being very forthcoming with information. There's no reason to shit on that dude.
Yeah, he wasn't being withholding at all.
No. Okay, so how many people's lives were ruined? It's above average, but not like to this
probably
extreme
another
extent.
Like 6 or something.
Yeah, a 6 is good. I mean, really, most people's lives aren't ruined irrevocably in this episode, right? There's a few, but most of them, at least, you could see it's possible they might come back someday.
Yeah.
Next, let's get to the guest performances. I think this is where the episode really shines. Michael Kellett Williams is amazing. He's really great. Julito McCullum was great in his part. Sister Peg is great. Most of the small parts were really good. Now,
I think Blake Peters was good.
Now,
is it Victor Slezak? That's his real name.
Yeah,
right?
Victor Slezak. He was good.
He was good as Blake Peters. I think it's generally pretty good across the board. I had some problems with Charlotte Ray Rosenberg.
Which one?
I don't know how much of that's her, Belinda.
They asked her to do a lot for a child actor, and it's not kind of like material that probably child actors should be comfortable doing. So
how is she going to access what's she going to access for this?
Yeah,
she's basically been like, at this point she was the romantic lead in some kid movie she had her first kiss with Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
Like right before this, and then she has one other credit before this.
I mean,
it's like, what are you asking a 14-year-old to do here?
What they're asking her to do is watch Pretty Woman and think that that's what being a prostitute is like.
Yeah, it's like she's been on the street. She knows that's not what it's like.
I mean, you'd think they could at least have her watch a Taxi Driver, and see what an actual teenage prostitute. Even that is not, I don't know, as brutal as what they're making this girls go through in this episode, but it's a little bit more true to life than this shit is.
Yeah.
Now, I would say there's a glaring hole in this guest section, depending on how you
Connie Nielsen.
Yeah, fit Connie Nielsen into the SVU universe. Like, is she a cast member or is she a guest?
I mean, she's recurring cast.
But it's 6 episodes.
Yeah, I think she has to factor in this section here.
Yes, because it is a Connie Nielsen episode. We cannot get around that. And that's going to really hurt the next section, because what could have been so good with these really fun performances, and I think in Michael K. Williams' instance, like, he's great. He's only on screen for less than 5 minutes, and he is great the whole time he's on. But it has to tamp it down.
Yeah. I mean, they misspent Michael K. Williams.
Big time. Like, even if they only had him for a day, he could have been in the whole episode in small scenes throughout the day.
Right.
But they really didn't.
So they misspent him, and they spent a lot of time on Danny Beck backstory that's ultimately irrelevant because she's off the show in the next episode, and they knew this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a big ding on the guest star part and on the overall rating part.
I want to give the guest star part a 5, though, because those other Because, like, okay, having the mind-warping wire intrusion into this
I think
universe-
it's higher than a 5 even with her.
Okay.
Because there's so much, like, almost in the entire periphery.
Yeah, I'm kind of melding
great.
these two categories together.
I think the overall quality is probably a 5 because of all the Beck stuff.
Yeah.
And because it's so, the episodes, the plot's so poorly balanced.
I'm gonna say the overall quality is less than a 5. But let's stay with guess. I could go 7 or 8.
I'd go 7, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that works. I mean, it makes sense. There were really good performances in there, even if the one who gets the most screen time was not great. And really, like, they could have written her character differently. She has a noticeable Danish accent. That's fine if you make her Danish.
Yeah, but don't have her do...
Like an NYC, cop wife who decides to take vengeance on her fallen, partner.
Have her on loan from the Copenhagen Police Department.
Dude, it's like I've seen so many, Scandinavian noir shows that are based on that premise where, like, nerdy British guy and hardcore Danish lady get together to solve crimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's The Guard.
Yeah.
There is...
The Bridge.
Yeah, The Bridge. The original Bridge. Braun or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The original Danish-Swedish combo.
There's so many of these. I mean, the one I watched most recently was called Trapped. It's an Icelandic show. Really fucking great. Really great. And she could have been in that, and it would have made sense. But have her be Scandinavian, because that would make sense. All right, Josh, let's get to the quality of this thing. I really thought this episode was a muddled mess of trying to do too much and not really doing any of them that well. I'm giving it like a 3, because it's not good. It's not even average because it puts all that shit in there. It's not terrible, but it's not average.
No, it's not terrible. And I mean, we've already rated it for the things that were done well.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as an overall episode is concerned, it's not very good. They waste all the, like, brain melting shit is all wasted in a mess of an episode.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of does make a composite score. The composite score on this one is 5.75, and it does kind of make it where I feel it should lie.
Yeah,
because, like,
exactly.
Michael K. Williams alone being in it makes it a really good episode. And and the problematic stuff in it makes it stand out. Like, the portrayal of the welfare mom really makes it stand out in my mind.
Yeah, there are very few actors who I want to watch pretty much everything they do, and Michael K. Williams is one of them.
He's great. I mean, really, in this one, he really stands out. How much he brings to the table, like how believable all his movements and lines are. It's great. It's worth it alone just for that.
On paper, his character really isn't that much different than Vance Dennis.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you have...
like a great actor playing a small part,
doing a cardboard cutout of a character.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, this was all right. It wasn't great, but it was worth watching. Definitely was not the worst episode we've seen so far.
Oh, far from it.
Yeah.
Far from it. I mean, it's not like Asunder.
Yeah.
Which has nothing going for it.
Oh,
or Gone Baby No Gone. Yeah, it's not one of those episodes. Like, especially if you're a fan of The Wire, there's a lot to enjoy here.
Yeah, there's a lot to like.
Because of how nuts it is.
Yeah.
And because The Wire is it's in this fucking universe. And they have two characters in this from The Wire who are basically playing their characters.
Yeah, they're absolutely playing their characters.
Yeah. Yeah, they have Naaman Bryce, Omar Little, Munch. We've also got Diane Neal playing her second character in the SVU universe.
Yeah.
We've got Michael Draley? That's his name, right?
Yeah, playing his second character.
Playing his second character in 3 episodes of Munch My Benson. Like, we're talking 2 episodes ago, he was in an episode. So, like, this is like a brain melty,
it is a
delicious mess.
Yeah, it is a froth of mess in here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, there's a froth. Oh, there's a froth of mess in here.
Oh man, all I'm thinking about watching Hulida McCullum on screen is like, man, just cut off your hair, man, and the cops wouldn't have caught you jumping the turnstile.
Fucking name it.
Okay, we've been doing this for far too long. Let's roll the dice for the next episode. I'm pressing the buttons right now for our randomizer. And it's giving us episode 201. That is Episode 18 from season 9. It's called Trade.
Trade, per IMDb, the episode involves a wealthy, successful coffee trader and his son, who are both suspects in a young woman's murder when evidence suggests that the woman was sexually involved with both men. This episode features Stephen Collins, the dad from Seventh Heaven.
Oh.
It features Matthew Davis, who played Alaric in Vampire Diaries. Yeah, I vaguely remember this episode because of Stephen Collins.
Interesting.
And if I remember correctly, it's pretty insane.
Well, cool. That should be fun. We'll see you next week then with that one, guys. Until then, munch my Benson.
And munch my Benson. Check us out his typewriter just to embarrass him. Cool.
Back to you.
Okay.
Back to you.
Sorry, Mike. There it is.
Shutterbug.
Solo ears too.
All in 3D.